First tonight, Yankee Magazine has been around for 90 years, and during that time it has published countless articles about interesting characters scattered across New England. A good number of those stories have been written by Mel Allen, who's been with Yankee for more than half of its 9-decade history. He has brought together some of his best stories in his new book, Here in New England. But it turns out Mel Allen is quite a story himself. In 1969, Mel Allen was in Cartagena, Colombia, a city known for its smothering heat and humidity. He was sitting in a theater watching the movie Camelot.
And oh, the expectation, the sublime anticipation.
He didn't know it at the time, but this scene from the movie would change his life.
And there was snow falling. I'd been so hot for so long. I saw that snow, and I thought, I need to feel that way. I went into a library the next day. I picked up a photo book, and it was a photograph of Maine in winter. And I said, as soon as I'm leaving the Peace Corps, I was in the Peace Corps, I'm going to go to this place I'd never been before.
The month he got out of the Peace Corps, Mel Allen moved to Maine, arriving, fittingly, in the middle of a snowstorm. And you had never been to Maine before
Never,
that?
didn't know anybody in Maine, never been to Maine. I grew up in Pennsylvania.
You got a job as a school teacher teaching 4th grade?
I taught 4th grade in Gorham, Maine, 27, 28 kids each year, and I've always said that's where I learned how to tell stories, because you had to keep those kids interested the whole day.
In 1975, he began doing some freelance writing, feature stories for the Maine Sunday Telegram and Portland Press Herald.
And these stories were just coming to me, people who I'd never would have known. I was young, picked potatoes in a rooster can, that kind of thing.
Among the people he profiled, a young Maine writer whose fortunes were starting to soar.
He lived outside of Bridgeton. I lived in Waterford, Maine. He kept pigs. He needed pigs rounded up for the market. And when I show, sometimes I show a PowerPoint slideshow, and I show a photograph of me at 30, and this guy behind me, dark hair, glasses, and I say to people, you probably don't recognize this guy. And then I show the next slide, and it's Stephen King. You know, they all like, oh, yeah, I helped Stephen King round up his pigs.
In 1977, a remarkable working relationship began between Mel Allen and Yankee Magazine. He was hired as a writer and set free to roam around, telling stories about the people and places of New England. He's been with Yankee ever since. Certainly when you became editor, you were not supposed to play favorites. You were supposed to love all 6 of your New England children, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. But I have long had the feeling that Maine was your favorite.
The stories, they just bubble up here. Everywhere you looked, there was drama, there was resilience, there was emotion. How could a writer not be drawn to this landscape?
Now collected in his new book, Here in New England, are, among others, stories Mel Allen wrote about a woman who worked 54 years at the Stinson Sardine Canning Plant in Prospect Harbor, about a veterinarian in the town of Hope who created a sanctuary there for elephants, about what happened in Bucksport, when the mill that had been the town's economic engine for decades shut down for good. Those of us who live in New England probably believe that New England is distinctive. It is special. Absolutely. It's different from the rest of the country. Is it really?
The short answer is yes. And the reason I think it's so different, Rob, is because it's so compact. You can fit the entire acreage of New England into Oklahoma and just have a little bit dripping over like apple pie goes over the crust. And also, we have this history. We have a sense of belonging, a sense of roots. My son now lives in Colorado, and they have the historic downtowns that start in 1890. Our historic downtowns start in the 1600s. That's what makes it so different.
You've been traveling around New England writing about it for a half century.
Yeah.
Is there any place that you haven't gotten to yet that you do want to see?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. I have never been to Monhegan Island. Now, how is that possible? That's because I've assigned stories on Monhegan Island. I haven't been to Monhegan Island. My bad.
If I made you an offer, said, Mel, I'm going to give you $5 million on one condition: you can never again live in New England, what would you say?
5 million and 5? I mean, could we?
So you want to negotiate?
No, New England is home. New England is roots. It's where I raised my boys. New England is where I know everybody, and I know the stories of New England. Like if you gave me $5 million and say now you have to tell stories in California, I wouldn't know where to start. But is this a real offer? And we'll talk about it.
No, I got nothing in the way of that kind of cash.
No, this is my home, and this book. This is like revisiting my entire past by putting these stories together.
Mel Allen retired as editor of Yankee earlier this year, a job he held for 19 years, but he's still writing for the magazine and now has the title Editor-at-Large. And one other note, the photo on the cover of Mel's new book was taken by the renowned Maine photographer Peter Ralston. It shows sea smoke around Curtis Island at the mouth of Camden Harbor. So yeah, Maine has great photos and great stories.